Hi, Bart.
Hi, Jackie. How are you?
Good, good. And you?
Everything is up here in Maine.
Oh my God! I catch on your vacations. You are so special.
Well, it's a working vacation.
Ah, okay. Now I feel better.
uh, yeah, I spend half a day every day working. So,
Oh, okay. Well,
mhm.
well, I want to thank you for allowing me to be here with you and also to share your time to help the people who needs a little assistance with the next step of the forbearance for the mortgage.
Yeah, that's my pleasure. Thank you for asking me.
Okay. Well, I have some people that are took advance for some different reasons. Some because they lost their job or they have to close their business for few months after with the pandemic, and they took the advance to don't pay the mortgage, and now they are getting some letters the bank asking when they will pay back. So it's a little confused about what they have to do. So I would like your opinion as an attorney, how this will be handled.
Okay, so number one, I don't have a crystal ball. So everything I tell you today could change tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We saw that just as recently as last Friday with the mask mandate.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of a sudden, we're without masks. No warning, no anything. Um, there are lots of different programs out there. Um, and so it depends upon what kind of loan the person has, whether that what kind of forbearance agreement they entered into is dependent upon what kind of loan it is also. Um, and there are lots of different alternatives to go. So I could go through, if you want, FHA, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac, VA. Probably going to look mostly at Fannie and Freddie, the Federal Home Finance Agency, because that's where the majority of loans
Okay.
are, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
So, and again, like I say, I'm research this. I deal with it on a daily basis, but everything I have is a couple of days old. There could be new recommendations coming out from these agencies at any time. So you have to bear that in mind and keep up with it. It reminds me a lot of short sales. When it
Mm-hmm.
first started, the banks weren't prepared to do that. And it took years sometimes to negotiate a short sale. And the banks are not prepared for this. They're not ready for this again. And so they're putting on people who really are not fully trained in all of the options. So you need to know them and stand by what you want. So let's talk about Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac. For those of you that don't know, Fannie and Freddie are the two biggest insurers of residential home loans in the country. They're semi-governmental corporations that put up the monies to the banks to make these loans. Um, they guarantee them, they make the money for them. Um, so all of those have been accepting. It was required that they accept hardship applications. It started in July, and you could have submitted applications through January 1st of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Even people after January 1st, they've been taking applications from, but maybe not in these programs. We don't know for sure yet. So it pretty much what you have is the payments you have not made, but principal and interest, they're deferred into a non-interest bearing balance due. So the interest does not accrue to interest, okay? And unlike with the short sales or the mortgage modifications of the past due principal is deferred also. So
Okay.
your principal balance, while it doesn't go down.
Mm-hmm.
Some of it is not due till the end. How they
Okay.
calculate this, I have no idea. You know,
Mm-hmm.
they got the big computers, much more than my pencil, pad, and adding machine.
Yeah.
So you had to have had. So what happens now when you get the letter?
Mm-hmm.
What are your options? First, they're going to ask you if you could repay it, and how are you going to repay it? Or do you want a full reinstatement of the loan, pretty much? So that's options number 1 and 2, really. I'm going to write you a check for the money, or I could pay it out to you over 24 months along with my regular payments.
Mm-hmm.
Or, you know, I'm going to pay it and just start making my payments right along. But there is also, they must offer you the option of taking all the principal and interest, putting it at the end of the loan, and making it due at that time.
Okay.
With no more interest accruing on it. So no late fees or interest on interest.
Mm-hmm.
But you have to ask for that. You have to insist on it.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, it's going to be when the mortgage is over, or when you sell or refinance the house.
But always, for when the people sign for this or ask for the forbearance the beginning of the pandemic, April last year, when they offer this no payment, at that time, people signed for whatever, and they really sometimes didn't know if it was a balloon at the end, or they have to be deferred. And the first option is, so the first call is how you can pay me back. So people can get a little confused that they have to do one payment, or they have to refinance. They are often refinance. So for what I'm hearing, it's a little concern about what happens if I don't have the money to pay you back right now. So and also they ask for take that money and add to the actual payment. So if they sign and they have the letter that they sign, they always have the option to put on the back.
So the only option to put it on the back comes with, by law, a Fannie Mae and Freddie Mae backed loan. So even if your mortgage says at the bottom Fannie Mae form, Freddie Mac form, it doesn't mean it's a Fannie Freddie underwritten loan, because many banks use those for in-house loans. So there are many banks that offer loans that are in-house or portfolio loans that do not go through Fannie and that do not follow Fannie and Freddie underwriting guidelines, so don't guarantee them. I know in Florida, in our case, we have a lot of foreign nationals who are living here temporarily, long term, and they have loans from other banks that are not foreign, you know, that are not Freddie and Fannie loans. So it depends upon what the terms in that letter that they initially signed the agreement. It may not include going at the end. Of course, that if it was, we're going to refinance you at the end of the forbearance term. And by the way, some of these forbearances can go up to 18 months, not 12 months. I believe that's one of the 18 months. Fannie and Freddie can defer up to 18 months. So far, they've only deferred up till 12. I don't know if they're going to tell us or not, or whether they're going to do it, but they have the option for up to 18 months. So it depends, again, FHA, VA, Fannie, Freddie, or what I'm just going to call a general portfolio or other loan. So number one, we start with agreement for forbearance. And quite honestly, I mean, at this point, nobody's come to me with these problems because they're still all in forbearance. No one has, you know, you've heard God bless the real estate agents, the real estate brokers. They're the ones that these people turn to for their first problem. And you're the ones that guide them through this. I don't see it till they're banging their heads against the wall and can't get an answer. So,
Yeah,
yeah, it depends what the letter said.
the letter said, well, the letter I reviewed, and it's very close, very close to me. It was like the first call was, hi, hello, we are so and so, and I would like to know how you can pay me back the money that you don't pay last year. So that was
Mhm.
like what? Like, well, I know that I can do at the end. Then the second one's like, well, we can do this. You can pay once, like in one loan, or we
Mhm.
can make a refinance to your actual mortgage and increase your mortgage payments, or we can add this for 24 months or 2 years and add that to your monthly payment, but you have to give us your income. So if this person doesn't have income last year because everything that happened with the pandemic, they will not show like they are even available to make that increase of the payment. So that may put them in a position that the bank is say like you cannot refinance or you cannot make your mortgage payment at that amount. And it was like a panic. And then the fourth option is a loan modification if you have a hardship package. So they was like, I will lose my house. That was the first the first thing that came to his mind, like, I'm losing my home. And he said, like, no, you have to ask for defer the payments, your third option. So the person who called, that maybe it was not their intention, but it was third option, pay me once all my money. Second, I will add to your mortgage payment. And four, if you have a hardship, we can do a short sale. It was like a panic. That third option didn't show up. So when he come to me and he said, like, you have to call and you have to ask for what you signed in your mortgage last year, that you will be taking the forbearance and get that amount to the back of your loan if the letter said that. So he found the letter. The letter said that they have the option if they will pay prop until March 2020, and he had that option. But it caused him to fight with the person and then ask for the escalate to the superior, and then he received the letter that the bank will take the money to the end, and if he sells the home, obviously that amount will be paid off. But was basically that the situation that they don't know what to do. They don't know that they have to ask for.
That's the problem. So it sounds to me that this person has a Freddie Mac loan. Because
Mm-hmm.
everything you told me, other than short sale, which is not in the list of payback plans for the forbearance,
Mm-hmm.
although it's a possibility, if I lost my business and I'm never going to have a job in the foreseeable future that's going to give me the income to keep that house, a sale may be good. It may not be a short sale, especially in this market today.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, remember, you had to be up to date on your payments when you got these forbearances. So these were not the deadbeats or the people that were in trouble prior to the pandemic. These were people who were literally struck hard, although I do know people or cases of people who applied for forbearance who had money and could pay.
Mm-hmm.
But for whatever reason, they were on pensions, fixed incomes, nothing changed. Anyway,
So let me
so
ask the
let me
bank.
just tell you one thing. So
Mhm.
even when these loans came out, these forbearance agreements, and Congress approved it, they were told you could defer for up to a year, but Freddie told its member banks only offer 3 months at a time.
Okay.
So they're doing the same thing all over again. Yeah, we'd rather get the money now then give you interest free on that principal and interest for the next 20 years or 10 years or whatever. So, you know, you have to ask.
Yeah. Yeah, basically, that was my big concern, because people get nervous more when they are coming back to work or open again their business. They may have the money to reinstate their payments and will be okay, but they may not have the money to pay back in once, or even increase their actual mortgage payment. So it was
So,
like a little like a stress moment, and I know many people are in a very tough situation that, you know, they're basically coming back to normal or trying to be normal.
so I think there is a way here for the banks to help the people. It's just the communications issue. So the Fannie Freddie guidelines give you the options of repaying gradually until you're caught up. Okay, that's one thing. You can have the payment deferral, where payment's added to the end of the loan, or they could call that a loan modification, where they change the interest rate and or extend the term, much like they were doing before the pandemic. So that may help the person also. So that's something to consider. Both either the deferral or a modification, as long as the terms are acceptable. And those are hard to do, and most people need assistance with that. I mean, that I get very often, people going for modifications who come into me for a quick consult and ask me, what does this mean? Because the banks don't write it very easy. And then the bank will give you also what they're calling, which is the payment deferral, is the interest-free loan, which goes till the end of the term, or you refinance the property or sell. So, you know, there are lots of options, Fannie Mae, Freddie Mac. That's the first thing. What kind of loan do I have? Let's send a letter from the bank that was signed for the forbearance, and let's see. And, you know, it's going to take a year at least to get this straightened out.
Yeah, for sure.
Remember, foreclosures can't start until June 30th on any of these programs. And who knows, that may be extended. We don't know. So you can't do foreclosures. When they start, there are going to be people caught up in these who got scared, or who just didn't understand, or who just did nothing. And we're going to go through the same thing we went through the last time of negotiating modifications to the loans, because maybe in June of this year, or July or August, they can't afford to pay the loan. But give them another year of non-payment, and they get a job, or they do something, business picks up, especially if you're in the hospitality business. Then in a year from now, yeah, there's going to be another $5,000 added to the loan of attorney's fees and costs and all that. But at least they may be able to keep the house. So,
and what about when you do the loan modification, just to remind the people, and they don't have the same income at that time, how it is, because it's a lot of years that this happened. So when you do the loan modification, trying to reinstate your mortgage, they will take care of the money that you are doing right now without looking at what happened last year?
they may. They're going to be different. They're going to have guidelines. The guidelines are going to change. Those modification guidelines are different with every bank. They're different with every servicing company for the banks. But I find in the most cases that the banks, again, depending upon how big the loan is against the property, what the value of the property is, what they get in the foreclosure, the bank doesn't mind lower, again, how high is the interest rate on your loan? Is your interest rate 5%, 6%? Or is it something you took out 2 years ago at 2.5%? If
Yeah.
it's 2.5%, what more can they do? You know, they can't lower the interest anymore. Maybe they could extend it to 40 years and lower the payment. There are things to negotiate, depending upon your income and depends what happens. You know, while there's 3 or 4 choices, that modification choice, depending upon how hard you were financially hit, may have some benefit.
Yeah, definitely they need assistance and they need guidance. So
Yes.
I think you will receive a lot of phone calls.
Well,
Beginning from mine.
you know what? We do give a free consult. Just quickly to find out about what the story is. I tell them a lot about what I tell you now. We have a someone on staff who sits with the people after the consult and goes through the application for a modification. And our charges are pretty minimal for that. But we do have to charge something for our time.
Okay. And you are the best. Your office are the best, and you work very hard for the people. I know that.
We try. We try. Offices in Weston and Fort Lauderdale. And with Zoom all over Florida.
That's true. That's the magnificence of the Zoom. So I would like to thank you so much for you take your time to share with us. And your office phone number, 954-659-2220. So
Jackie, could I just say, if anybody wants to reach me directly, if they're not driving, to write this down, my direct line is 954-634-1769.
Perfect.
So it's a lot easier.
I will put on the comments. Thank you so much, Bar. Thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me, Jackie. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Yeah.